Hey, what's up everyone? Danny here, and in this video I want to talk about something slightly different than usual. I'm not going to talk about any techniques, but I'm going to talk about advice that I have for BJJ white belts. Alright, so if you're someone who's new to Jiu-Jitsu or are just someone who fell on this video and you're looking to start out your martial arts or BJJ journey, my first recommendation is going to be this. Find a gym, academy, school, facility, dojo, kwoon, club, name it what you want. Find a place that is safe and friendly. Okay, you want a safe and friendly environment. That's the number one thing. Don't look for a gym that is badass, that are full of just fighters, shirtless people training. Look for a friendly place. Look if the academy or the school actually offers kids programs. Look if they teach women. Look if they teach men that are just starting out. And one good piece of advice that I can offer you guys is also, when you visit the academy, verify if they have a structured beginner's curriculum. That's super important, guys. I know it sounds really simple, but over the 20 years that I've been training in martial arts and teaching, I've seen countless of academies in all sorts of martial arts where they don't offer beginners programs. Okay, so it's like you sign up and you just walk onto the mats and you're going to be training from day one with other white belts, but also with blues, purples, browns, and blacks. Okay, so if they don't have a lot of white belts, be aware. So really look for a place that offers that good structured curriculum for beginners or white belts in this case. All right, so that's the number one thing. Obviously, most schools will offer trial classes. In our school at Experience MMA and Fitness in Gatineau in Canada, we actually offer sometimes up to 2 or 3 different trial classes and sometimes up to a week if need be, because we offer different types of programs. So if you're looking to get into Jiu-Jitsu, that's the number one piece of advice I have for you guys is look for a fun, friendly atmosphere, and it's got to be safe. So maybe watch a class, maybe schedule a trial class, and see if you feel that you fit within that environment. Okay, that's very important. See how the instructor will actually pay attention to you as a beginner. Is he just going to be placing you within the group from day one? In our case, we like to separate the fundamentals and the more seasoned practitioners, that's for sure. Because I don't think that beginners as white belts should be drilling the same techniques, and that's not to say that they can't learn them. Now, the second piece of advice I've got for you guys is determining your goals. Do you want to be the next BJJ world champion? You want to be the next UFC sensation? You want to get into MMA? Have you done wrestling, jiu-jitsu, judo, or combat sports before? How old are you? All right, so determine those goals first and foremost. Okay, maybe you're just someone who wants to get in shape for the fitness aspects. Maybe you're just following a spouse that's already practicing in the sport and you just want to follow their footsteps and train with them. You just want to go to the academy and have some fun, learn some new techniques, or you're just someone who wants to learn how to protect yourself. Okay, so self-defense purposes. A lot of people are training for different reasons. You got to determine those goals, and that's going to align more your objectives towards that path. Okay, so once you know that, then you can choose an academy that fits your needs. I know in our case, we don't have a high level amount of competitors. We don't have people that compete at the Worlds or are professional MMA fighters. But what we do have are people that want to train because they want to learn either self-defense, they want that fitness, and they have that pleasure of coming to the academy almost every single night of the week and training with their colleagues, having fun, learning some new techniques on the mats. And I can tell because I see the smile on their faces when they're practicing, drilling, rolling, whatever it is. Okay, so that's super important for you guys to determine. One more point I want to talk about is consistency. I think that's probably the most important takeaway in this video if you're starting out in Jiu-Jitsu. Be consistent. Consistency is key. All right, so a lot of times, as an example, I'll have students come up to me and say, "Professor, how does it work to get promoted in here? Like, how does it..." Listen, consistency is not about showing up every single night of the week for 2 weeks straight. I don't really care personally who's been training for the last week or so. What I care about when I talk about consistency is who has been consistent for the last couple months, showing up maybe 3 nights a week, but nonstop for 3 months in a row, 6 months in a row, for years. So if you're showing up for a class once every 2 or 3 weeks, sporadically on the schedule, don't think that, why is he not considering me for a belt promotion, for example? I've had students that have been training with me for like years and years and have been consistent, and they don't slack off. They're not there 6 days a week, but they're there 3 nights a week, but consistently. Over time, that adds up. And that's what I mean by being consistent. I see too often times a lot of students, especially when they're starting out, they want to get promoted too quickly. Okay, they see their colleagues and they see someone else with a blue belt or a purple belt, and they're anxious to get that next level of promotion, but don't be bothered with the belt. Today I'm wearing a white belt t-shirt. It doesn't matter, okay? So Jiu-Jitsu is right in here. It's not around the waist, and that's a cliche, but it's very true. The belt doesn't matter. What's tied around your waist does not matter. What does matter is what's right here, what's in your heart, okay? So if you love the sport, if you love training, you're gonna stick to it long enough to progress. There's no doubt about it, okay? So in the case of Jiu-Jitsu, nothing's further from the truth. One more piece of advice that I got for you guys that are starting out as white belts is listen, pay attention, and follow the steps of your instructor, all right? So a lot of times students think they know more than they actually do. Don't be afraid to ask questions. There are no stupid questions. When it comes to martial arts training, especially in BJJ, it's very important to ask the proper questions. And the more you ask questions, the more it's going to show that interest that you have in the techniques and into the system of Jiu-Jitsu. Now, let's go back to the friendly atmosphere. I once heard a high-level champion state in an interview that in order to become good in Jiu-Jitsu, you got to be able to get beat up a lot. And you don't need to get beat up on a daily basis to get good at something, okay? Especially when it comes to Jiu-Jitsu in any type of martial art. Okay, so here's the deal. If you start beating up on people on a daily basis because you're such a badass, do you really think that your training partners are going to consistently show up for classes to want to train with you? And the second thing is, what if you're the one who's getting beat up on a daily basis? Think about that for a second. Are you really going to start showing up on a consistent basis to the academy, day in and day out, week after week, month after month? Talked about that in the previous video, by the way. But once again, I don't believe that's the best methodology. Okay, so as a professor in Jiu-Jitsu, I really believe that we got to take white belts and bring them into the system of Jiu-Jitsu with a framework in mind. Okay, so what I mean by framework is a structured curriculum where the student who's never done martial arts before might not even be in great physical condition. It's very important for us to take care of those students and slowly build them into the Jiu-Jitsu program. I really believe that self-defense is of utmost priority in a good structured program. I also believe that, of course, the foundations, the essential movements and mobility exercises that we use in Jiu-Jitsu have to be taught from a very early stage, from the first class actually. And I also believe that I don't believe in sparring for beginners, okay? And let me explain for a second. I think that, you know, if two new people in the BJJ program start to spar at an early phase, all they're doing is really just butting heads and clashing, you know? So it's gonna be more of a strength and a really like a scramble of non-techniques, okay? So it's very important that students learn proper techniques, movements of Jiu-Jitsu, how to apply offensive techniques, how to escape from positions, and drilling those techniques with a training partner under the watchful eye of their professor, and keep on repeating those techniques over and over and over and over some more. You know that quote where it says you need to repeat a movement for 10,000 repetitions before you're even proficient at it. So imagine for an instant that Jiu-Jitsu was chess. And this is a game of human chess, my friends. So there's 1,001 ways for your body to move and react, and action and reaction against all kinds of situations, against the resisting opponents. So it's very important in order for you to be able to have fun in Jiu-Jitsu and progress in Jiu-Jitsu and stick long enough in Jiu-Jitsu that you learn those essential skills from the get-go, from the white belt process. How long does it take is probably another question people are asking. So how long does it take to get to blue belt level? How long should I stay as a white belt? Of course, that's going to vary from student to student, but I truly believe that you need to have a certain amount of hours, a certain amount of mat time, a certain amount of drilling practice sessions in order to be even considered to surmount to the blue belt level. I don't believe in promoting students too quickly. I don't believe it's doing them any favor. Jiu-Jitsu is an acquired skill. It takes time. There's no shortcuts. You have to respect the process. Unfortunately, it's one of those martial arts that, unlike any other, if you don't put the time, you're not going to progress. But the bottom line is this: If you want to progress as a white belt, the best advice I have is number one, register yourself to a good academy that fits your needs, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Number two, set goals for yourself. Why do you want to start Jiu-Jitsu? Why have you started Jiu-Jitsu? What are your short-term and long-term objectives with your martial art practice? And the next big thing, like I said, is consistency. Be consistent. Once you've determined those goals, those objectives, work towards them step by step, one day at a time, week to week, month to month, and eventually years to years. So follow these steps. I hope this video helps out a lot. I think it's just something that could serve a lot of you guys watching my YouTube channel. It was past overdue. It was long overdue for me to actually make a video of this sort. And if you enjoyed it, give a thumbs up. These are my personal opinions on the advice that I have for you guys as white belts. And don't worry about the belt, because eventually keep rolling, keep training until the belt turns black.